The Helping Young People Choose the Birth Control Method Right for Them resource tutorial is a 5-part tutorial developed by Activate. Activate is funded by the Office of Population Affairs to translate sexual and reproductive health research into resources for professionals who support young people experiencing the child welfare or justice systems, homelessness, and/or disconnection from school and work. Activate previously developed a resource that professionals can use to facilitate conversations with young people, which centers young people's birth control preferences, needs, and priorities. The purpose of this tutorial is to illustrate how to use the resource. It was developed with input from youth supporting professionals who might use the resource and young people who might benefit from its use. The Helping Young People Choose the Birth Control Method Right for Them resource is a 2-part research-informed resource created by Activate. The resource is designed for youth supporting professionals who want to help young people make informed decisions about birth control. The first part of the resource is a birth control methods guide that includes instructions for using the guide, background information, reflective questions, conversation starters, and a matrix that includes 18 birth control methods. The background module reviews what we know about factors that influence young people's choice of birth control methods and describes the different categories and methods of birth control found in the resource. Modules 1, 2, and 3 show how the reflective questions, conversation starters, and matrix can be used. The second part of the resource is an information booklet that includes detailed information about the 18 birth control methods featured in the birth control methods matrix. It also includes a glossary of the reproductive health terms such as long-acting reversible contraception. Module 4 shows how the booklet can be used. We developed the resource using a 4-step process. First, through Activate's needs assessment, we identified a need for a resource that helps youth supporting professionals empower young people to choose a birth control method that is right for them. Second, we reviewed the literature on factors that influence the birth control choices young people make. Third, we sought input from youth supporting professionals and young people on the content and format of the resource and how it might be used. Finally, a pediatrician and public health professional with expertise in adolescent medicine and pregnancy prevention reviewed the resource to ensure its medical accuracy. This is Module 2. It explains how to use the conversation starters in the Birth Control Methods Guide. The background module reviews what we know from research about the factors that influence the birth control choices young people make and provides information about the 5 different categories of birth control methods. Module 1 describes how to use the self-reflection questions in the Birth Control Methods Guide. Module 3 explores how to use the Birth Control Methods Matrix in the Birth Control Methods Guide. And Module 4 shows how to use the Birth Control Methods Information Booklet. After completing this module, you will know how to use Activate's resource to start a conversation with young people about choosing a birth control method. Now, we will provide a brief overview of the section of the Birth Control Methods Guide that includes the conversation starters.
The Birth Control Methods Guide includes 3 sections. 1. Instructions for using the guide. 2. Background. And 3. Conversation starters and birth control methods matrix. This module will focus on the conversation starters that are included in the Conversation Starters and Birth Control Methods Matrix section of the guide. They can be found at the bottom half of page 4. The conversation starters are 7 questions that are meant to help youth supporting professionals start a conversation with young people about choosing a birth control method. The first question asks young people to think about whether they see themselves having children in the future. The second question asks young people about birth control they might already be using. The last 5 questions focus on factors that might affect young people's ability to access birth control. Importantly, these questions do not capture other factors that young people might consider when choosing a birth control method, such as side effects or potential benefits of a particular method. That information, along with other details about each method, can be found in the Birth Control Methods Information Booklet. Module 4 shows how to use the information booklet.
Now we will walk through a scenario that illustrates how these conversation starters might be used. The scenario features a youth supporting professional who is unsure on how to talk to a young person about birth control. Damilola is a case manager at a program for young people who are disconnected from school and work. She recently learned that Ty, a 19-year-old with whom Damilola has been working with for 2 years, is sexually active. Damilola wants to talk with Ty about birth control, but doesn't know how to start the conversation. How might Damilola use the birth control methods guide in this situation? Damilola might use the conversation starters at the bottom of page 4 of the birth control methods guide to begin a conversation with Ty about birth control. For example, she might ask whether Ty sees herself having a child in the future, and if so, when would she like to have a child? Damilola might also ask Ty whether she has a healthcare provider she feels comfortable going to. Each of the conversation starters will help Damilola to gain a better understanding of Ty's situation. This understanding can set the stage to help Ty identify a birth control method that is right for her. Youth supporting professionals can use the conversation starters in the birth control methods guide to start a conversation with young people about choosing a birth control method. We would like to acknowledge the youth supporting professionals and young people with lived expertise who contributed to the development of this tutorial. Please contact Activate using the email address listed if you have any questions about the tutorial. All 5 of the tutorial's modules can be found on Activate's website at activatecenter.org.